Hello there, my beautiful Taurus signs. It's Rachel with Dark Knight Coaching. Today's video is all about you, Taurus. This is going to be kind of a wild ride, so settle in. Make sure you have some tea or coffee or whatever it is you're drinking, because I have a lot to say for you. There's a lot of changes and shifts happening. There's a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. It's kind of a blend of energies. Overall, the vibe is acceptance. You're just moving forward. Because, this came out, acceptance. That's just what it is. Because I feel like there's a lot of shifts that are happening, and I don't feel like things worked out the way you intended them to, but I do feel like there was purpose in the process. Now, acceptance with the red on the outside of this card is symbolized by your root chakra, so you might have had some problems with your foundation. This is kind of, the roots tied to your sense of security. This is like your stability, your job, your career, your family, your love, those sorts of things. And I do feel like you're finally coming to terms with either an ending of something or just like your I don't know, it's like a vibe of complacency. It's not a good thing or a bad thing necessarily. It just kind of is. It's like I'm not getting a particular energy that it's like, oh no, this is happening, it's terrible. I'm not feeling that at all. I'm just feeling like, okay, this is where I'm at, because like it's kind of like you're in the void. The moon card came out that says nothing will come of this situation, void of course, moon. So again, I feel like maybe if you've been trying to get a job and that's not been working for you, you've come to terms with like, okay, I'm just going to stay where I am for now. Or if you've been really trying to shift something with your family dynamic, it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm just going to just kind of go along right now with what's happening, and then over the course of time, as I put in more work to myself or the situation, I do feel like there's going to be some shifts there, because you have this Seven of Pentacles in your past energy, and this is kind of like, is the juice worth the squeeze card? It's like, is this going to be worth all, am I going to get fruits from my labor? Like, is this going to actually happen? And Spirit is saying yes, but it is in a divinely timed period, so it's not going to be when you think it is. And I just saw 222 on the recording clock, so that's kind of another signifier for you that you're in the right spot, you're right where you're meant to be. It just feels a little uncomfortable because it's like you're not really sure which way you're leaning, but you don't really need to lean any way. I feel it's like it almost feels like you're walking this like tightrope or whatnot, because it's this kind of calm feeling, but you're not really at peace with things. Now, Spirit says time to go. This is number 45, Taurus. Time to go usually means like you're leaving some old habit or pattern or situation, or you're just releasing it. And I do feel like you are just trying to express yourself in a proper way, because the expression card came out. This one says you're ready to manifest your thoughts and transform them into acts of love. So maybe you're really figuring out how to love yourself so then you can love others, because you also have the Maiden card here. Now, the Maiden card the Maiden is tied very closely to the moon. The Maiden, the mother of the crone. The Maiden, the mother of the crone. Those are like the trilogy of the moon, essentially. It's the waxing, the waning, and the full new moon. Those sorts of vibes. That's why the moon is the feminine and tied to our emotional cycles. So this Maiden energy is all about supporting yourself so you can support others. It is, the Maiden is kind of this new, fresh version of yourself as you're growing and you're learning. So maybe some of you are really tapping into this like feminine energy all over again. Maybe it feels kind of brand new, but the Maiden is the build up before you become the mother. So I do feel like you're kind of really leaning into this like sense of self, this expression mode. Like, what is it? What do I need to do? What kind of stuff do I need to do on myself in order to really lean into my feminine side? Because a lot of you might have been tapped into your masculine energy for a long time to survive. Sometimes that happens where we get trapped in our yin or our yang energy too long, because we need to be in one or the other in order to adapt to our surroundings. Now, this card is from my Moon Oracle deck. It says, I release all negative thoughts of the past and all worries for the future. So again, I feel like you're in this like weird limbo period, but it's a nice spot to be in, I think, compared to where you've been. And you're kind of finally accepting, like, this is where I'm meant to be at this time. Now, this card is advancing. This is tied to the I Ching. The I Ching is all about our DNA. It is literally tied to our genes, and it's also tied to the Tao, and it's also a very interesting way to get messages from spirit. So we all have specific DNA, and the I Ching basically can tap into that. So when I pull this card, I just pull it for the energy of this time period, which is the lunar cycle. So right now, Spirit wants you to focus on advancing. Now, this card in particular says Prince Kong used a gift of horses to breed a multitude. In the course of the day, he mated them 3 times. And it says, like Prince Kong, the brother of King Wu, who was rewarded for his loyalty with horses, you have been given gifts that you must make the most of. So strength, inspiration, and popularity enable you to travel further and faster and magnify your blessings according to this opportunity. And then you will advance and prosper. So what gifts and opportunities have you been given, and how can you make the most of them? Now, if you are really tapping into your clair abilities, if you have an open third eye, or if you have an open heart and you've had those sort of things happen, maybe that's why you feel like you're in this maiden mode. You're tapping into your psychic abilities, your intuitive abilities, your paranormal abilities, whatever it is, because you're probably an empath if you're watching this, Taurus. And I do feel like Spirit is trying to tell you, like, how can you make the most of it? Because sometimes when people have access to supernatural abilities, it's not always fun or fulfilling. It can be kind of a double-edged sword, because if you're empathic, you have that paranormal, supernormal ability to feel other people's energy, and with that power comes great responsibility. Thank you, Spider-Man. But it's true, because you can feel what other people are thinking sometimes, and you can feel the energy in the room, and that can sometimes be off-putting, because it's not. Energy doesn't lie, but people do. So whatever someone is saying may not match what you're feeling from them. And sometimes that's a double-edged sword, because then you can really see that person, you can see through that person, and they become very transparent in their intentions, which is good for you, because then you know what kind of person they are. But then in the same instance, it's kind of can leave you with a bad feeling if the intentions of that person aren't very pure. But that is an advantage that allows you to advance, because then, as you get access to your paranormal abilities or your intuitive knowing, that then you can see, if that person's really supposed to be in your life or not, or if you want to, it gives you a leg up, because you can understand who you want to spend your time and your energy on, versus, getting trapped by a person who's intentionally tricking you to make themselves appear better than they are. I just heard showboating, so somebody might be showboating or gaslighting or manipulating you, but I feel like you already know it, Taurus, because you're very intuitive and you're divinely guided. Now, you have the Whale card as a bonus oracle card. It just says, just as the whale can dive into the depths of the sea and endure immense pressure, you are also able to endure emotional and physical pressures. So again, I feel like this has to do with the knowing, the internal knowing, the gut knowing about somebody and their intentions. Sometimes that can just feel very rough. It can be very painful when you feel like you thought you knew someone and it turns out that they were nothing at all like the person you perceived them to be. But in a way, that's the best compliment to you, because that's you mirroring, or it's a refraction of yourself you wanted to see in that person, or it's like what you would have done in that situation if you were in their shoes. So it's really kudos to you, because that's what you would have done. But now hopefully you're wise enough to know that not everybody is you, and not everybody's going to make the same choices you would, which again can be hard to hear, but you already know what you already know. So don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt your internal knowing. because there is rewards for following your heart and following your gut and instinct, and I do feel like you will be getting those things. So your present energy here, Taurus, is the Two of Swords. This is all about making a choice. This is a decision, but it's also a little bit about feeling blindsided. And I do feel like that's what's happened here. It's like maybe you felt like you only had like A or B to choose from, but there's options in the background. So don't box yourself in too hard at this time. And then your future energy is the Queen of Pentacles. This is like a cool, comfortable, calm, stable person. This is like somebody who's emotionally tapped in, but also like it has this great sense of security when it comes to financial matters and things like that. Like she's just chill. She's like, yep, I got my pentacle. I'm good. I'm solid. And I feel like that's where you're headed here, Taurus. Now, your subconscious energy was the Wheel of Fortune, but I also pulled the Page of Swords, which was interesting because the Page of Swords is usually like a little bit of a petty energy. It's a bit of insecure energy. Let's say it that way. I think that sounds a little bit better. So if you've been struggling to not like stoop to somebody else's level, you know, the Spirit is just saying, just try not to do it. Or, you know, if you are going to stoop to someone else's level, do it in a way that can, how can I say this? Do it in a way that can benefit you, Taurus. Like, if you're going to stoop, do it in a way where it's this expression where you can transform it into an act of love somehow. So I know that may not be easy to do, but it could be like in the form of a poem or a song, or, you know, maybe create some art out of it and make it a funny thing, like whatever petty level somebody's trying to get you to match. Just try to turn it into something that works for you and morph it into some goodness. And we can do that. A lot of artists, a lot of singers do that. You know, Taylor Swift, she's like #1 out there for taking all of her lemon relationships and turning it into lemonade. So you could do something along those lines. You know, and it doesn't have to be for the public. It could just be for yourself. So anyways, that's what I have for you, Taurus. Hopefully this video helped. If it did, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps my channel grow, and I greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested in a one-on-one coaching session, please feel free to reach out. Or if you're interested in a tarot reading, please feel free to reach out, and I can do that as well.